Well, folks, I don't know that there's ever been, and it's getting there with Chance Profit, but I don't think there's ever been a more hated man in ASW history than Jeff Paul. This is a man, I don't think he's got a single fan in the world, aside from himself when he looks in the mirror, and the one next to his bed.
Can't disagree with that. That's right, Jeff Paul does suck. And you'll fight him one-on-one tonight. We'll be Big Black Carl. Big Black Carl calls himself BBC, but I don't think he's from Britain.
I don't think he's British, or broadcasting, or a corporation.
I'm confused by the name.
BBC ready to lay the smackdown, drop the hammer on Jeff Paul tonight. Aww.
Well, you hear the crowd coming glued for Big Black Carl.
You know, Josh, surprisingly a lot more history between BBC, Big Black Carl, and Jeff Paul than most people would think. BBC coming from the Premier Wrestling League training school down in Beckley.
Beckley with...
People think I'm scared to take BBC. I've taken BBC before, and I'll take BBC again tonight.
Jeff.
I'll take BBC every night of the week.
Jeffrey. Pause. Jeff.
If I get paid, I will take BBC.
Jeff Paul is taking BBC every night of the week, as long as he's getting paid.
Listen, sometimes in life, when you're hard on money, you just sometimes you got to take on BBC.
Jeff's not afraid of he's not afraid of a fight.
Standing at 6'7", Big Black Carl.
Big Black Carl, I believe this is his first one-on-one match here in ASW. I could be wrong.
Listen, Jeff is going to take a pounding from BBC tonight.
Well, there is money involved, so we do know that Jeff Paul will take on BBC.
When he's paid for it.
When he's paid for it.
He said, every night of the week, as long as he's getting paid for it, he will take BBC.
His exact words, folks, not ours.
Carl with the big, thick, really, really, really long legs going to step right over Jeff Paul. Jeff Paul seems like he's running away from the BBC. Might be too big to handle. Jeff Paul getting back in within arm's reach of BBC. Can he take it? Locking up, just putting his hands on the BBC now. That BBC just threw him back.
Now Jeff Paul taking some chest shots to the BBC.
Trying to just smack the chest of the BBC. BBC. Going to give the BBC is going to give it quietly to Jeff.
Oh!
And the BBC just took Jeff's breath away.
Oh! I tell you what, it ain't nice and easy with BBC. It is rough, I tell you. And a big clothesline.
BBC's just a swinging.
Oh! Big hip toss.
Jeff Paul being manhandled by the BBC. Not the ceiling tiles. The BBC's just too large.
Oh, big shot to the back.
I don't think Jeff can handle the BBC tonight.
He's doing his best here.
Jeff trying to tackle the midsection and now the head of the BBC.
Oh!
And BBC just smacked across the chest of Jeff Paul. It's going to be like a stamp across the chest of Jeff Paul.
Definitely leaving a mark.
Portobello-sized mushroom hands of BBC. Jeff Paul going low on BBC as he's trying to climb back into the ring. Jeff Paul just trying to
choke BBC.
Trying to choke the life out of BBC.
Drops a big leg.
Leave him dry in the ring. And BBC's just laying on the ropes now. Jeff Paul raking the eyes, foot to the neck of BBC. Jeff Paul has a firm grasp on BBC.
That big spear by Jeff Paul. Spearing BBC right in the middle of the ring. And drops the elbow right across the chest.
To the BBC. Jeff Paul thought he had BBC down for the count, pulling him back up. Big smack to the chest from BBC. Jeff Paul's looping because of the BBC. Throwing some more shots towards him. Jeff Paul using his long legs on the BBC, trying to take him down.
And you know that part around your neck is very sensitive, and definitely
a lot of surgeries are needed to, like, if something goes wrong with your neck, you got to have a lot of surgeries to cut that. You got to go through the extra skin and everything to cut that down, to try and fuse the pieces of the spine together, just to rehab it, just to make it better. Jeff Paul picking the BBC up, trying to at least. But is he too big for him to handle?
Oh my God! Drops him right across the knee with his ribs.
Jeff Paul just put the BBC across his leg with that spine break. I don't know what to call it. I'm at a loss of words.
It's like a modified version of a backbreaker.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't think of it, Jeff.
Jeff, how dare you? Now choking BBC. Folks, this match just completely went off the rails for us. I'm your boss now.
Would you look at the size of that man and tell me that you're going to have an easy time keeping your wits about you when you're looking at the size of BBC right now? You're going to sit here and tell me that you can keep focus with that BBC in the ring?
Well, Jeff Paul's certainly keeping his wits about him around BBC right now.
Jeff is absolutely focused 100% on BBC. As he said before the match, takes him on every night of the week as long as he's paid.
Oh!
Jeff landing right on top of that BBC.
Floating over into that version of the Vader bomb with ease. Well, speaking of bombs, he's goozled.
Listen, Carl's got to understand, Jeff's always on top when it comes to BBC.
Oh,
maybe not now.
Pitches him into a sidewalk slam, goes for the cover. Referee Vic out of placement. That might have been it.
Jeff able to kick out at 2. Hasn't had enough of BBC. Ready to keep fighting.
And a jawbreaker by Jeff Paul to BBC.
BBC, no stranger of broken jaws. With them hard right hands that he throws.
Jeff Paul now going to the middle rope. Up, catches him though.
Jeff Paul being choked by BBC. Choke slam.
Choke slam, middle of the ring, goes for the cover. 1, 2, no. There is still fight left in Jeff Paul for BBC.
Paul gasping for air from BBC.
Trying to get this crowd behind BBC.
Everybody loves BBC, Josh.
Oh, sternum first.
Jeff ran away from BBC.
Then another big spear.
Big spear. Jeff tackling head first to BBC.
2, 3, that's it. Jeff
Paul conquers BBC tonight. Jeff Paul had a firm grasp on BBC here tonight. Jeff Paul always comes out on top with BBC. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out other videos with matches from ASW's past and present right here on this channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you can stay notified for all ASW content.